Hi there from Central Virginia. Today I want to talk about hay and why I use it in my garden. Yesterday I got my early fall delivery of hay from my friends Dave and Claire. In my garden, hay is essential. It is my primary mulch, and I also use it for making the Ruth Stout style garden beds. You'll hear people say, don't ever use hay. Well, as you can see, I use hay. I'll take you inside the garden so you can see the kind of the proof in the pudding in terms of how the hay works out as an excellent mulch and cover. Okay, so let's just hit the controversy right on the head from the very beginning. Why do people say never use hay in your garden? For two reasons, and two reasons that are good reasons. The most important is that a lot of hay farmers in their fields will they want to produce hay and not other weeds, and so they will spray their whole field with a systemic weed suppressant or herbicide, and that it's one of them. There are different ones on the market. One of them is called Grazon, and it has caused problems for people because it doesn't break down, and even in the compost process or going through an animal feed. An animal's digestive system, it doesn't always break down. Obviously, if you have hay that's been treated with Grazon or something like that, it is going to, and you put it on your garden, it's a persistent herbicide. Herbicides kill things that are growing, like things in your garden. So that is one really good reason not to use hay. I would not use hay if I did not know exactly where it came from and exactly how it was produced. The hay that I use has never been sprayed ever, and I know how and when it is harvested. And so it is very pristine hay. Okay, what's the second reason that people don't ever use hay? They'll say, well, hay has seeds in it, the seed heads, and that is true. That is where the nutrition of the grain resides in the seed pod, and that's why you feed it to animals. Hay is food for animals. And people will say, well, if you use hay, you're going to get grass seed or seed, and it's going to pop up in your garden. Okay, I'll show you a couple of instances where that did happen, but I'll also show you how easy it is to take care of. Now, hay versus straw. I have used straw, I have used hay, and I prefer hay because it has that nutritive value in it, but straw can actually be a very good mulch as well. But I've also had seeds in straw as well as in hay. So it doesn't just eliminate the problem. At any rate, I prefer hay, particularly if I know where it came from. I'm just going to give you a sense of the size of my garden. It has a fenced in area and an unfenced area as well. The fenced in part of my garden is about 40 feet long by about 30 feet wide. So it's a sizable garden. And then I also have a large area that is unfenced. The unfenced area adds an additional 20 feet of length and is about the same width. So we're really talking about a space that is 60 feet long and about 30 feet wide. I get hay delivered twice each year. And I just got 14 bales delivered, which is going to carry me through the winter and into the beginning of the next growing season. I'm going to be using this hay to build some no-dig beds. I'm going to mulch many of my beds with this hay, and I'll have a little bit left. I'll have a good bit left over for the beginning of the growing season next year. This is the brand new hay, and many people, and it's pristine. It's beautiful, and it has been well kept inside a barn. And if I was growing animals and feeding this for animals, that's exactly how I would want my hay. But I do something else with it. For gardening, I want it to sit out. I want this hay to spoil and begin to break down and compost. It is going to add enormous amounts of nutrition as well as organic matter to the soil. And it becomes an incredible growing medium. You can actually even plant into this once it starts decomposing. I also use this hay in making compost as well, because once it does dry, it is considered a brown. And so I added for the brown or carbon-rich material into the compost. Here is the hay that is remaining from my my summer delivery, my early summer delivery. It is good and dried and well on its way to rotting. Now, if it were going to spring, here, I'll pull it open. If you're allergic to mold, this may be issues for you. But you can see inside and out, there is really maybe just a tiny little bit of sprouting. Here's some. But if you see sprout, you just pluck it out like that. Anything on the inside, any seeds on the inside are going to decompose. Here is some more grass that begun to sprout, but see how easy it is just to pull it out. Another way to deal with any sprouting grass is to just flip the hay bale over. That deprives it of light, and it's not going to sprout. So that is one of the ways that I deal with the sprouting hay when it's in the bale. As you can see, I've got lots of things growing here. It is the end of the season, so the pumpkins are beginning to, some of the pumpkin plants are starting to fade. But all of this area was mulched heavily with hay, and it has been incredibly productive. This is a little bed that I made last year, actually last September when I got my fall supply of hay. I just put we stacked the hay up in this area right here, and it began to compost down. And you can check my videos, but I have some videos on how I used that bed and just made a Ruth Stout style potato bed. Then after the potatoes were harvested, and it was an excellent harvest by the way, I planted these pumpkin plants. Now you might say, oh my God, they look horrible. Well, this is the end of the season and pumpkin plants die from the source out. This particular pumpkin right here is a Seminole pumpkin, and that pumpkin has produced, I think, about 8 little Seminole pumpkins on it, so out of one plant. And the other one is a Cinderella pumpkin. It has produced 4 large, about 20-pound plus Cinderella pumpkins. So this has been incredibly productive. This is just hay that just decomposed straight down, and it was a bale, so it was up to about here, about a foot high. But look down below. It is just rich, rich organic material. So I will be coming along when these pumpkin plants are done. I'll be mulching this heavily with about 8 inches or so of hay on top of this, and I'll be leaving it for the winter time. I'll do a video when I come to do that. What about weeds? Okay, let's take a look. Here is a weed. That's a little bit of vetch that was there. Here's a little grass that sprouted. We're just going to pull it right out. See how easy that is to pull out? I'm looking hard, but I'm not. So here's a piece of weed that came in where it had been dug up. And really, that is what we're dealing with. I have literally never weeded this space at all. So as the season progresses, I will take you through and show you what I do with all of this hay. How I prepare my beds for the winter, how I build some new spaces for growing for next year. And if you can find a really good source of hay, I would not hesitate to use it. I've been using hay now from this particular grower now for, I guess this is my 3rd year with that. I have used straw from other sources and hay from another source as well. But I can't stress enough the importance of finding a really good source for your hay. And once you're comfortable with that source and you know where it comes from in terms of and how it was produced, then you really don't have to worry about using hay. It is an incredible growing medium. My gardens, people are always saying, how do you get so much production out of it? These are no-dig gardens. And I will tell you that the beds that I have, a couple of beds where I started and I dug, those are not as productive. So as they say, the proof is in the pudding. In this case, the proof is in the produce that you get out of that garden. So that is what I do. I'm not going to say it's for everybody, but that's my 2 cents worth on using hay in the garden. I hope you found this helpful. I will continue to post videos about what I just do in the garden. If you like them, please consider subscribing. And you can also hit the notification button as well. Thanks for watching. I hope your garden's growing well. Take care. Bye.